Hey, if you're still awake, tonight I want to talk about conflict. Most people think conflict begins when two people disagree. An argument, a fight, a disagreement. But I don't think that's where conflict starts. I think conflict starts much earlier than that. I think conflict starts inside us, long before another person ever hears about it. Some of the biggest battles we'll ever fight doesn't happen out loud. Let me repeat. Some of the biggest battles that we'll ever fight doesn't happen out loud. They happen quietly between who we are and who we think we're supposed to be, between what we want and what we're willing to admit we want, between what we know and what we're afraid to do. Nobody sees those battles, but they shape everything. Your reality, your future, the version of you that you want to exist, and the current version of you now. Looking back, some of the hardest conflicts in my life weren't with other people. They were with myself. And I want to expand on that. I'll call it the first battle out of many battles. Looking back at it, I don't think I was ever unattractive. I don't think I was ever not a quote unquote standard. I was just shy. I was just nervous. I was just not myself. And because of that, I lost so many battles due to what I thought about myself in my own mind, the battles I was having with myself in my own body. Instead of putting my internal self aside, I let it dominate me. I let it win over. I let it create a reality that simply didn't exist. And that insecurity went on for a very long time. Like I said before, I never thought I was unattractive. Now that I'm looking at myself, right? But back in the day, I thought I was, too skinny, not that visually appealing. I didn't play sports, yada, 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 right? But to turn out, I was perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine. I am perfectly perfect. But it was that first battle, that internal conflict, that self-awareness that brought me down. Even now, it tries to creep up on me, right? Like me personally, right? I didn't want to record this today. I didn't want to listen to my own voice. I didn't want to talk. I was down in the gutter like, oh, I'm so lonely. I'm so sad, blah, blah, blah. But it was in my own head. This entire time, it was in my own head. Like, why would I stop recording? This is my version of not only self-pleasure, but freedom, enjoyment. What is it? What word am I looking for? My own version of reality, speaking through a microphone, speaking through this microphone for you, the listener, listening to me, the speaker. This is my own version of it, and I love it. Like even now, I make so many mistakes. Like right there, even now, I make so many mistakes when speaking. And I always think to myself when I'm editing this audio, like, oh, should I speak louder? Oh, should I cut this off? Should I cut this out? But I don't want to do that because that is my own internal battle, my own internal conflict. I don't want to seem perfect to you guys. Although our first topic was perfection, I don't want to seem perfect to you guys, right? I want to be the person next to you in the room. I want to be the person that hears you when you feel like you've never been heard. I digress. Knowing I need to change something, knowing I need to let something go, knowing I needed to move forward, and finding that truth every step of the way. Because sometimes the truth isn't hard to find, it's hard to accept. When I was going through a rough time with my last relationship and she did damage to me and I did damage to her, not physical, emotional, but it was the truth that kept clawing at my brain, right? that I couldn't really be with this person. Although I think at a point I did genuinely love this person, but I knew internally, deep within myself, before the final decision was made, where we would go our separate ways, that truth of being with her every step of the way. And I knew within myself that I couldn't do it. I knew that truth was there. I was just trying to avoid it. It wasn't really hard to find for me personally. It was just hard to accept. Definitely a learning lesson that I'm still trying to heal from till this day. And that's where I get into the war between two versions of you. I think a lot of us are carrying two versions of ourselves. The person we are, the person we're trying to become. And most days, they're not in agreement. One wants comfort, the other one wants growth. One wants certainty, the other one wants possibility. One wants to stay where it's safe, the other one wants to see what's on the other side of fear. That's conflict, and it doesn't require another person to exist. You know, this is really good. This is really good. Just from a standpoint of looking back at our other two topics, perfection and fear, it all ties together. And it ties into why we feel stuck. Sometimes people say they feel stuck, but I don't think they're stuck. I think they're divided. Part of them wants one thing, parts of them wants another. And they're exhausted from being pulled in two directions at once. Because conflict isn't always fighting. Sometimes conflict is indecision stretched over months or years. So I ask you, the listener, a couple of questions that you can reflect on, and maybe I can add on to it. What truth have you been arguing with? What part of your life keeps asking for your attention? What decision have you already made in your heart, but not yet in your actions? What version of yourself is trying to emerge that you're still resisting? And for me, the version of myself I'm trying to emerge is a version of myself that's full of wealth and health and greatness. All three. Not lacking one, not lacking two, not up one, two down, not up three. No, up three. Up three. Up three for me. That's the version of myself that's trying to emerge. The one that's up three. It only takes 3 points on the board. That's all I need. And to the realization, I don't think peace comes from winning every battle. I think peace comes from ending the war within yourself. From finally being honest. From finally listening. From finally admitting what you've known all along. You know, from finally, that's such a hard word for me to say in one go. From finally. Sounds weird now. But from finally admitting what you've known all along. Most conflict doesn't begin with other people. It begins with us, with the conversations we avoid, the truth we resist, the choices we postpone, the part of ourselves we're still trying to accept. So maybe tonight, instead of asking who's against you, ask yourself what's pulling you in different directions. Because sometimes the loudest conflict in our lives is happening in complete silence. The room will reopen on Thursday night. That battle between you and yourself is only internal. Do not let it dominate you. I'll leave the lights on for you.